Hey everyone, and welcome back to Conversational English. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Ethan. Thanks for joining us today.
So, today we're talking about something that, well, pretty much everyone has to deal with at some point, going to the airport to catch a flight.
Oh man, airports. Love them or hate them, right?
Exactly. And there's so much vocabulary involved, so many processes to understand. So, we thought we'd walk through the whole experience together.
Right. From the moment you arrive at the airport until you're actually on the plane. So Taylor, let's start with, well, what's the first thing you usually do when you get to the airport?
Well, it depends. If I haven't checked in yet, that's definitely the first thing. But honestly, I almost always do online check-in now.
Oh yeah, totally.
You know, the night before or the morning of. Most airlines let you check in 24 hours before your flight. You can choose your seat, get your boarding pass on your phone.
Yeah, it's so much more convenient.
But sometimes if I'm running late or I forgot, I'll use those self-service kiosks at the airport.
Oh, the check-in kiosks, yeah. Those are pretty user-friendly usually. You just scan your passport or type in your confirmation number and boom, you're checked in.
Exactly. Though I have to admit, when I was traveling internationally for the first time, I was so nervous about doing something wrong that I went to the check-in counter instead.
Ah, the traditional way.
Yeah, where you actually talk to a person. The airline agent checks your documents, weighs your bags, gives you your boarding pass. It's more personal, but it definitely takes longer.
Right, especially if there's a long line. Speaking of bags, that's usually my next stop, the baggage drop.
Oh, yes, if you have checked luggage. I'm always paranoid about the weight limit.
Huh? Same here. I always weigh my suitcase at home first, but I'm still nervous when they put it on the scale at the airport.
Because if you're over the limit, those excess baggage fees can be really expensive.
Oh my gosh, tell me about it. I once had to pay like $80 because my bag was 3 kilos over.
Ouch. That's why I try to stick to carry-on luggage when possible. Just that small suitcase that fits in the overhead compartment.
Yeah, that's smart. Plus, you don't have to wait at baggage claim when you land.
Exactly. So after you've sorted out your luggage, what's next? The dreaded security screening.
Ugh, security. I have such a love-hate relationship with this part.
Right? I mean, I understand it's necessary for safety, but it's always stressful. You have to take off your shoes, put your laptop in a separate bin, make sure you don't have any liquids over 100 milliliters.
Yeah, the liquid restrictions always get me. And don't get me started on accidentally leaving something in your pocket and setting off the metal detector.
Oh no, that's so embarrassing. I always double check my pockets now, but I still get nervous walking through that scanner.
The body scanner. Yeah. It's quick, though. And the TSA agents, or whatever the equivalent is in other countries, they're usually pretty efficient.
True. And if you're flying internationally, there's also passport control and sometimes customs to deal with.
Right? Immigration. That can be nerve-wracking, too, especially if English isn't your first language and you're worried about answering the officer's questions.
Yeah, but these days it is usually just scanning your passport at an automatic gate when you are departing.
Yes, that is easier.
But once you get through all that security stuff, it's like relief. You're in the departure area. You can relax a bit.
Yes, that's the best feeling. Now you just need to find your gate.
Right, and this is where I always check the departure boards first, because sometimes the gate changes.
Oh, good point. I've been caught off guard by that before. You show up at the gate that was on your boarding pass and it's completely the wrong flight.
Exactly, so always double check those screens. And speaking of boarding passes, make sure you know your boarding group or zone number.
Yeah, airlines usually board in groups now, like first class boards first, then maybe group 1, group 2, and so on.
Right, and honestly, I used to stress about this, but now I've realized there's no rush. I mean, your seat is assigned, it's not going anywhere.
Ha, that's so true. I used to be one of those people standing in line super early, but now I just wait until my group is called.
Much more relaxing. Although delays are always a possibility, which can be really frustrating.
Oh man, flight delays. That's probably my least favorite part of air travel. You're just stuck there waiting, and sometimes you don't even know how long the delay will be.
I know. And if you have a connecting flight, it gets really stressful because you're worried about missing your connection.
Oh, connecting flights add a whole other layer of complexity, don't they? You have to factor in the minimum connection time. Hope your first flight isn't delayed.
Yeah, and if you're going through international connections, you might have to go through customs and immigration again, recheck your bags. It can be a lot.
Definitely. But you know what? Despite all these potential headaches, I actually kind of like airports.
Really? Tell me more about that.
Well, there's something exciting about the whole atmosphere, you know? Everyone's going somewhere different. There's this sense of adventure in the air. Plus, duty-free shopping.
Ooh, that's true. Though I have to be careful in duty-free shops. Those prices can be deceiving. Sometimes they're not actually cheaper than regular stores.
Good point. And airport food has gotten so much better over the years, too. Some airports have really good restaurants now.
That's true, though it's usually pretty expensive. I try to eat before I get to the airport if I can.
Before we wrap up, there are a few more airport situations that are worth talking about. Like what happens if something goes wrong?
Oh, that's a great point. Like, what if your flight gets canceled? That's probably one of the most stressful situations you can face at an airport.
Absolutely. And when that happens, you need to know the right vocabulary to talk to airline staff. You might need to ask about rebooking your flight or getting a refund, or maybe they'll put you on standby for the next available flight.
Right, and if the cancellation isn't your fault, like bad weather or mechanical issues, the airline should provide compensation, maybe a meal voucher if you're stuck for hours, or even a hotel room if you have to stay overnight.
And then there's the dreaded lost luggage situation. I had this happen to me once in Barcelona. My bag didn't show up at baggage claim, and I was so confused about what to do.
Oh no, what did you do? You have to go to the baggage service office, right, and file a report?
Exactly. They call it a PIR, a property irregularity report. You give them your baggage claim ticket, describe your suitcase, and they track it in their system. Fortunately, most lost bags turn up within 24 hours.
You know, speaking of spending time at airports, let's talk about airport lounges. Have you ever used one?
Oh yeah, a couple of times. It's such a different experience. You get comfortable seating, free Wi-Fi, complimentary snacks and drinks, sometimes even shower facilities. It's like a little oasis away from the busy terminal. Usually, yeah. If you're flying business or first class, you get access automatically, or you can buy a day pass, though those can be pretty expensive. Some credit cards also give you lounge access as a benefit.
You know, we touched on international travel earlier, but there are some specific things that are worth mentioning. Like, if you're traveling internationally, make sure your passport isn't going to expire soon.
Right. Many countries require your passport to be valid for at least 6 months from your date of entry. I learned this the hard way when I almost got denied boarding because my passport was expiring in 4 months.
Oh, wow, that must have been stressful. And then there's the whole visa situation to consider. Some countries you can visit visa-free, others require you to apply in advance, and some offer visa on arrival.
Yeah, it really depends on your nationality and where you're going. It's always worth checking with the embassy or consulate website before you travel. The last thing you want is to be surprised at the airport.
Absolutely. Now, once you're actually on the plane, there's a whole different set of vocabulary and experiences, especially on long international flights.
Oh, totally. Like the in-flight entertainment system, meal service, and dealing with jet lag. Plus, you've got flight attendants who can help you with everything from extra pillows to medical emergencies. And then, of course, when you finally land at your destination, there's the whole arrival process. If it's international, you'll go through immigration again, collect your luggage, and possibly go through customs.
Yes, and customs can be intimidating if you've never done it before. You might need to fill out a customs declaration form, and they could ask you about what you're bringing into the country, like if you have anything to declare.
Usually, it's pretty straightforward, though. Most travelers just go through the nothing to declare green channel. But it's good to be honest. Customs officers are trained to spot suspicious behavior.
You know, looking back on everything we've discussed today, I think the key to stress-free air travel is just being prepared and knowing what to expect. Have all your documents ready, arrive early, and don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it.
Absolutely. And remember, airport staff and flight attendants are there to help you. Most of them are really friendly and understanding, especially if you're polite and patient. Even if your English isn't perfect, they'll usually work with you to solve any problems. Well, I think we've covered most of the airport experience, from check-in to actually boarding the plane.
Yeah, and hopefully our listeners picked up some useful vocabulary and phrases for their own airport adventures. Air travel can seem overwhelming, but once you know what to expect, it gets much easier.
Absolutely. Practice makes perfect, and the more you travel, the more comfortable you'll feel with the whole process.
So that's all for today's episode of Conversational English. Thanks so much for listening, everyone.
And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Next week, we'll be talking about ordering food at restaurants, so that should be fun.
Can't wait. Until then, keep practicing your English, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for sticking with us through this comprehensive airport guide, everyone. Safe travels, and bye.